Today is New Year's Day, January 1st, 2024, and I've set up the two keel sections. This is the forward one here, that's the bow up there. This is the aft one. This is the stern here. If you're looking at the forward one, the main hull attaches along this line. There's a line you maybe can make out in a video going along here. This line here is the deck line. This area that's higher up, this is where the batteries will go. Also, the forward end of the aft piece, that's the battery compartment area there. I'm just playing around with sticking a rectangular piece in here. This is as a bulkhead. It's just resting in there right now. It's just a little bit of friction. What I did was made up these stands to hold this thing up. I was trying to figure that out because a bunch of wobbly floppy pieces of plywood needed a way to constrain them. So I basically just cut slots in the plywood and then other slots in the 4x4 to stick the plywood in, so that holds it. And then also a few pieces like this that are slotted go in over the top, and I can basically, slide these pieces up and down, forward and aft to, get the kind of curve that I'm looking for. So currently there is about slightly over 18 inches of space between here and here in this battery area. The batteries are less than a foot wide, so this is plenty of space. I'll end up filling quite a bit of this in with some foam, but this lets me get a little bit more of that teardrop shape that I'm going for. So obviously still very narrow and thin up at the bow, which will make it great for going through the waves. The water line should come out somewhere around here, maybe 4 inches or so above that corner there. And the water line will come aft here, eventually make contact with the bottom of the boat around this area, and then this whole part going back, this is just a flat section. There will be vertical pieces, so like this is the deck here, and there'll be a piece of wood glued along here to support the deck and to make this more rigid. That piece will continue along like this past the battery thing, and then it's basically a 3/8 inch sheet of plywood deck pieces that I cut out earlier that will sit on top of that, forming the deck. So the deck will be here. The bottom of the boat is this curve going along here, and in between these two pieces there'll be pieces of plywood coming out this way from the hull. They'll be glued on vertically here, come out the right dimension. The other pieces, the deck and the bottom, will attach to those. There'll be some stringers and reinforcing and all of that. So that's the main gist of it. So basically having these set up now, what that allows me to do is go ahead and glue these wood pieces on here. The piece of wood that goes on here that the bottom attaches to, same thing on this side over here. I can throw a few bulkheads in to stiffen the structure up, and once that's done, then I'll be able to flip these pieces over and put the bottom on both of them and then fiberglass them up. And the other thing I did was made up this little jig just to be able to measure how the front piece of the boat will come into this piece and make sure that it'll be a fair it'll come in nice and fair and not be off or some funny shape that's going on there. So I basically just put these two pieces here up against the back of the main hull back here, so those two pieces lie in nice and tight and snug on either side of this, and then they basically give a good indication of how this curve is running off the end of this forward piece, and then how it's going to transition into the aft piece. So by moving these support frames up and down, basically just lift up the plywood sheets a tiny bit and give these a little kick and move them one way or the other. Same with this one here. And fiddle around with the shape of it and get it so that it's reasonably fair. Right now I'll probably fiddle with it a tiny bit more, but it's only 1/8 of an inch or so off here, and that's easy enough for just a little bit of pressure to straighten that right out. So yeah, all of this looking pretty good. Moving right along. I will have to run a string, obviously, from the bow back to the center back here, and just check that everything is symmetrical and fair. The nice thing about the sides of this being vertical and parallel is that I can basically just make up rectangular sheets of plywood and use them as bulkheads, and if the bottom corners of the plywood there and there line up nicely with the bottoms of the hull, and the top part, once I cut a straight line across there, if that lines up nice and the sides are all nice and tight there, then essentially it's got to be fair. If it was tilted one way or the other or screwed up in some way, it ended up being a trapezoid and wouldn't really work out all that well. So lots of sort of safety, just natural things in place to make sure that everything works out and goes nice and straightforward, and should come out nice and fair. So that's it. Thanks for watching. Bye.